The next night on Raw, he and Lita celebrated his victory with a highly controversial celebration, which certainly lived up to his moniker of Rated R Superstar. And after that, he continued his feud with Cena, eventually dropping the belt back to him at the Royal Rumble later that month. It had only been a short reign for sure, but it was enough that people now looked at Edge in a whole new light. From there, he was a force to be reckoned with, the ultimate opportunist, and at WrestleMania 22, he proved he could also be one of the toughest guys on the roster when he fought Mick Foley in an incredible hardcore match, which ended with him spearing Mrs. Foley's baby boy through a flaming table and getting the pin. Following this, he teamed with Mick for a while, both having finally earned each other's respect after their brutal war together. This period saw the two revive the hardcore title and proclaim themselves co-champions, taking the belt over to ECW as, along with Lita, they beat the team of Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, and Beulah McGillicuddy at One Night Stand 2006. Later that same night, Edge would also reinsert himself into the world title picture too, when he cost John Cena a title match against Rob Van Dam. And now, with Cena out of the picture, the Ultimate Opportunist was able to beat Van Dam for the belt a few weeks later, starting his second reign as WWE Champion. This run would turn out to be more successful than the first, as he unveiled his own custom version of the title and successfully defended it against the C-Nation leader a number of times over the rest of the summer, until eventually losing it at September 17th's Unforgiven pay-per-view. By now, though, no one loss could hurt him. He was too big of a star for that, and instead segued into starting a tag team with Randy Orton named Rated RKO, as the duo vowed to take out the newly reformed D-Generation X. This battle of the old guard versus the new guard saw the Ruthless Aggression era stars come out on top in the end, and after that, they went on to even further success together, winning the World Tag Team titles on the November 13, 2006 episode of Raw. From there, their winning ways continued into 2007, though by then, world title aspirations would eventually see them challenging each other, as both still wanted to be the top dog in singles competition. Yes, a team with two egos as big as these was never going to be able to last forever, but it didn't matter, because Edge would find himself with a new family surrounding him soon enough. Before that, though, he would win the WWE title once again. After beating Mr. Kennedy in a singles match where the Money in the Bank contract was on the line in May of 2007, he cashed in on The Undertaker just a few days later, becoming a full-time member of the SmackDown roster from there on in as a result. And it was during this period that Edge effectively made SmackDown his show. With the likes of Triple H and Shawn Michaels over on Raw, it left the Rated R Superstar free to become the undisputed top star of his brand, and he proved this even further when he began a union with Vicky Guerrero, soon adding lackeys in the form of Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, and Chavo Guerrero to the group, and naming it La Familia. With La Familia surrounding him, Edge would be able to fend off challengers in the form of Batista, Rey Mysterio, and The Undertaker throughout the end of 2007 and beginning of 2008. And it would be at WrestleMania 24 on March 30th, 2008, where the latter gave Edge the biggest moment of his career up until that point, as he not only main evented the biggest show of the year as the defending world champion, but also took on the Dead Man's undefeated streak while he was at it. Of course, Edge wouldn't end the streak that night, but his match with Taker was very well received and helped to spark a series of stellar WrestleMania performances from the Phenom in the years that followed. And it wasn't like Edge had to live without his precious world title for long. Over the next few months, Vicky Guerrero, who was by then the general manager of SmackDown, helped her kayfabe lover get a number of shots at his lost gold again until he eventually won it back at June 1st's One Night Stand. When he lost it again soon after this, though, it created a rift within La Familia, one which eventually climaxed in Edge getting caught having an affair with Alicia Fox, this leading to Vicky dumping him and vowing to make his life a living hell in the months that followed.
On a économisé plus d'argent que prévu et on se disait que...
Qu'on pourrait le mettre sur notre mission.
D'après votre plan, ces économies-là pourraient vous aider à aménager dans votre nouvelle maison encore plus vite.
Avant de prendre des décisions financières, voyez-en.
Yes, Edge would suffer for his indiscretions at first, but over the next couple of years, he was able to overcome them, as he won the world title 3 more times. Still, he wasn't satisfied with just this. He wanted more, and after briefly being moved over to Raw in 2010, he returned to SmackDown looking for his 6th reign, a reign that would eventually begin when he won a TLC match against Kane, Rey Mysterio, and Alberto Del Rio at December 19th's titular pay-per-view. By this point, with his WWE and world title reigns combined, the Rated R Superstar was an 11-time champion overall, and as he headed into 2011, the future looked bright. Little did he know, however, that the years of punishment he had inflicted on his body were finally catching up to him, and so it came to pass that after defending the world title against Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania, he appeared on the April 11th episode of Raw to announce to the world that he was being forced to retire. To say the news came as a shock was an understatement. It was just so sudden, but it seemed like, unbeknownst to him, Edge had been suffering from cervical spinal stenosis, and upon discovering this, doctors had refused to clear him for in-ring competition again. For a man who felt like he was right in the prime of his career, the news came as a gut punch to him, and fans certainly felt the same way, with many of them openly crying as he announced his permanent exit from the ring. Now a former wrestler, Adam Copeland had to figure out something else to do with his life. Sure, he would make the occasional appearance for WWE in a